It is 1801, and a small North African state is about to declare war on the United States of America. But to understand how we got here, we need to go back to the late 1700s. The newly independent United States was sending merchant vessels across the Atlantic. However, Europe happened to have a pretty bad pirate situation at the time, because some North African states, officially under Ottoman control, needed to secure some extra funding. They got this funding by hiring pirates to capture and enslave European crews. Even though the European powers usually had better navies, they were too busy invading France, or getting invaded by France, to deal with them. So they paid tribute to these Barbary states in order to gain access to the Mediterranean. When the US became independent, they lost their protection under the tributes of France that they had during the Revolutionary War. So, when ships started to get captured, President John Adams paid for tribute deals and established the US Navy. They paid a staggering $800,000, about $17 million today, because America could never be complicit in slavery. When it's done to white people, that is. But a level-headed, diplomatic response is for commies. So, the opposition Democratic Republicans started advocating for a more American approach. And, when Thomas Jefferson won the 1800 election, he abolished the tribute treaties. Congress also gave the president command over 6 additional frigates if one of the Barbary states got all uppity about it. For a while, it all seemed fine. But then, in 1801, one of the Barbary states, Tripolitania, declared war about it by cutting down the flagpole of the American consulate. The Americans started to plan an operation against the fortress city of Tripoli and got some Sicilian bases from the Kingdom of Naples, which hoped for American favor in the Napoleonic Wars. America fairly handily gained naval dominance, but still had a hard time taking Tripoli. In 1803, Tripolitania captured the frigate USS Philadelphia, not exactly out of naval skill, but rather because it ran aground on their shore. The Americans also tried to ram a ship packed with explosives into Tripoli, but it was sunk before it got anywhere near the city. At this point, the US really just wanted to end the war and activated its trap card, called the US Marines. A force of 8 Marines and 500 mostly Greek mercenaries captured the eastern Tripolitanian city of Derna. This gave the Americans enough leverage to negotiate an end to the war and piracy without paying tribute, although they still ransomed the American hostages from the USS Philadelphia. This was seen as severely uncool by some American diplomats and officers, like the officer in charge of the force that captured Derna. But their complaints weren't ignored, as tensions were brewing that would soon erupt into the War of 1812. But at least now, the US didn't have to fight piracy anymore. Right, Algeria?